The UK GPSR 2005 essentially functions as a safety net. It mandates that products that are not subject to other regulations that cover safety aspects must at the very least comply with the GPSR 2005. Now, the GPSR 2005 doesn't provide us with a clear roadmap or a technical specification for how a particular product should be designed in order to reach a state where it can be deemed to be safe under the GPSR 2005. It doesn't do that. And that's why we have the concept of the presumption of conformity. So presumption of conformity is a concept from the EU. And basically what this means is that in order to comply with the regulation, in this case the GPSR 2005, you have to identify safety standards that basically deliver the product to a point where it can be deemed safe. So where the regulation is saying that your product must be safe, it is within product standards that we can actually find the technical specifications telling us, for example, how do we need to make sure that we design a baby carrier to make sure it has the sufficient, let's say, construction, the strength, integrity to not fall apart, for example, because that would be a safety issue, right? And it's within these standards that we must look in order to, let's say, adjust our technical drawings and later arrange testing. So this means that the next question is, how do we identify product standards? And we often begin by looking at reference standards, and you can find these on the gov.uk website. These are under the GPSR 2005, right? And you can see that this page, well, the list of standards is subject to update. So currently, time of recording is October 2025, and the latest update was in April of 2025. So you have to look at the latest version, which you can find right here. Right. So the list of reference standards, this is generally the go-to place. These are the, let's say, you can see these as priority standards for products that are not only products regulated by the GPSR 2005, but let's say those that generally have let's say, safety issues that must be mitigated. And here you will find child care articles, children's furniture, gymnastics equipment, outdoor furniture again, more gymnastics equipment, children's furniture, cycles, okay, internal blinds, roller sport equipment. So you can see that these actually, they're quite specific. And it's great if you can find one that applies to your product, which you can often determine based by just looking at the name of the standard. Again, let's say that I'm selling a carrier, I'm selling a baby carrier, and I should find something, and I did indeed. Number 41, we have EN 13209 from 2004, and this standard seemingly applies to baby carriers, specifically framed back carriers. So if that's what I'm selling, my job is done, at least to the extent that I've identified a product standard. And of course, there's a lot more to it. I have to buy the standard. I have to make sure that let's say, the different technical aspects of it are implemented into my design drawings and so on. But at the very least, I know where to begin. The problem is, it's not always that easy. It's not always the case you will find a list, that you will find your product in this list. What do you do then? Well, that doesn't mean you have a free pass. It's not simply the case that go look in the list of reference standards. If you don't find anything, well, then you can sell whatever you want. It doesn't work like that. So that's when we have to go here to the BSI knowledge.bsigroup.com. This is British Standards Institute. Now, the previous document, about PDF file with about 10 pages. Clearly, that doesn't list every single product sold in the UK or anywhere else for that matter. That's a pretty restrictive, pretty short list actually. And what if I'm selling something that's not there? Let's say I'm trying to sell, let's say if we keep it within children's products, let's say I'm planning to sell a stroller, a pushchair. Okay, we find nothing. Well, obviously this doesn't mean that baby strollers are completely unregulated. That would be insane. It just means that we don't have it on the list of reference standards. I'm gonna do a little search here, see what we find. Okay, found. Now we did find something, it seems. ASTM standards. That's not what we're looking for because we're not going to sell in the US. Pushchairs. Okay, seems that we've got something. So here we then have a standard, BSEN 1888. This is then the standard that we would likely be looking at if in a scenario where we're selling baby strollers or pushchairs, and specifically children between 15 up to 22 kilos. It can be quite specific, as you can see here. Okay, so this video I just wanted to show you a very brief methodology explaining the basics. Why does this matter? The core concept of presumption of conformity. We begin by looking at reference standards. Make sure you pick the latest version. You scan the list and see if you can find one, possibly more than one standards that relevant to your product. And if you don't find anything, then you can go to the BSI knowledge database, type in the product name, a few different variations, and see if you can find something else. And if you find absolutely nothing, then my recommendation is that you bring this up with a lab like Intertech or other lab that's working with compliance testing for the UK, and ask them to help you make this assessment.